Hello everyone, this is Oscar Tango 5 Zulu, and today I'll be showing how to unlock the 60 meter band on the FT-2000 transceiver, but should also work for the FT-2000D. Now basically, apparently in the US versions of this transceiver, there are pre-programmed channels that you can use to transmit on the 60 meter band, but in my rig in particular, which is the European version, that is not the case. So that's why we will today be performing the Mars mod. And the Mars mod is a hardware mod, so you'll have to open up the transceiver, do a small modification and close it back again, but shouldn't be too difficult. And this Mars mod basically opens full transmission of the transceiver between frequency ranges of 1.8 to 30 MHz and also 50 to 54. So remember, now you'll have full transmit capability, so as a ham, you should be responsible and stay within the bands that have been set for the amateur radio operation. Now let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, I turn the transceiver upside down. Now I put a blanket beneath the transceiver just to avoid damaging the top, but when you do that, just be careful of any buildup of static. You can also use something else, a piece of plastic, anything, piece of cardboard. Now basically I undid 3 screws here on the left, I undid 3 screws on the right, then 3 screws here on the top and another 4 here on the bottom. And if you did that, you should be able to just lift off the cover just like this. Now you will see 15 screws that you need to undo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'll go ahead and do that. So now I have undone these 15 screws, and then this plate should easily lift up like this and reveal the control board, etc. So basically on the right hand side here we have the control board, and there's this jumper over here. It's called JP3004, and this jumper we have to solder to make contact between the 2 pins. So let me just zoom in to what I mean. Here, over here. So here we have jumper JP30, and then here we have pin 04 over here, and this pin we need to bridge with a soldering bridge basically. Alright, so I have my soldering iron here. I put the temperature just on a standard 350 degrees Celsius. Make sure you have a clean tip, make sure you have a little bit of solder available. You really don't need a lot, and make sure just that the tip is clean before you start doing this. Right, now we're gonna solder the pin, and I'm gonna try to make it visible for you guys. We really don't need a lot here, not a lot of solder, and also we don't need to touch the pins for too long. I think we only need 1 or 2 seconds. I'll try to make it visible for you. So here's my soldering iron. I just will touch upon 2 pins that they both get hot, and then I'll add a little bit of solder. So let's go ahead here. It's not enough. Almost there. Okay, should be fine. So you should be able to see now that pin 4 has been bridged by a solder dump. Now before we go any further, just let's do a visual inspection to just make sure that we didn't make any short circuits on some other pin. So I'm gonna put the transceiver back together now. I'm not gonna show you how to do that, that's quite obvious. But one thing I just want to mention is that if you put this plate back on here, just make sure that all these screw holes in these screws, that they have a tight fit, because this plate acts as a shielding plate, so there should be sufficient electrical connection at each of these points. So just make sure that you screw them in tightly. So I've put the unit back together now, and now we have to do a reset of the radio. So just make sure that if you have any settings in the menu that you wish to transfer to the updated version here, that you write them down so that you can input them again into the menu here when we reset the transceiver. So to reset the transceiver, we just turn on the switch on the back, then we hold the fast and the lock button together, and then we turn on the transceiver here on the top left. We wait. Alright, and now it should be reset. Now we can see if we can indeed transmit on the 60 meter band. So let's first go to one of the frequencies of the 60 meter band. So let's go to CW 5332, I think is the frequency. Right, we are at 5 watts, that's fine. I'm connected to a dummy load because I don't have a 60 meter antenna at the moment. Let's just see. Yeah, it seems we can transmit. I'll go to 100 watt, check the meter. Yeah, we are transmitting at 60 meter at 100 watt. So one problem here is that there's no real dedicated button for the 60 meter band, so it's quite difficult to get to the right frequency. But one thing you can do is you can go there manually the first time. So I'll go to the first channel for CW, which is 5.332 megahertz. 5.332. I'll go into CW mode, and then I'll save this into the memory. So by pushing this button here, A to M, it gives you the option to save it into the memory, and here it shows you which memory channel you'll be saving into. So this is number 1, but I can change it with this button to any of the memory channels. So I'll just save it to 1, and I do that by selecting 1 and then holding down this button A to M for 2 seconds until I hear a beep. And just like that, it's saved into the memory. So for example, if I'm working on 80 meters here, I want to switch to 60, I can just push the button here, V/M, to exit the memory, and then it shows me the 60 meter channel. So that's about it. First of all, just make sure that you read upon the different power levels that are allowed on the 60 meter band and the different frequency channels, just to make sure that you're not operating out of band or with too much power. And secondly, also be aware that this of course voids your warranty. Not that I assume anyone still has a warranty for this FT-2000, but just so you know that this is your own responsibility and your own risk. Anyway, thanks for watching, and good luck on the 60 meter band, and hope to catch you sometimes. This is Oscar Tango 5 Zulu 7 trees.